I remember many nights playing cricket within my mind, and then you wake up at 7 for a test match the next day and you feel tired and you're like, how am I going to get through today? I wish there was people that could talk about the hacks of sleeping, because I think, like you say, it is a superpower.
So sleep is absolutely non-negotiable. Sleep's the basis of good health. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most powerful and most ignored biohacks on the planet, sleep. You can train, you can fast, you can spend a fortune with supplements, but if your sleep is broken, your biology is broken. So we're going to be talking how to optimize sleep, how to fix sleep. But if there's one thing you want to remember, if you like me have got a very short attention span, please remember this. Sleep is not passive rest, it's active repair. And for an athlete, sleep's got to be vitally important. I mean, what's your sleep hack or sleep secret, Faf?
I remember many nights preparing for a test match the next day, playing cricket within my mind, to the point where it's so busy in your head that you get to about 11 o'clock and then you go, it's time, I need to start falling asleep. But you know, your mind is so on, and then it just keeps, it's like this down this rabbit hole where it's at 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, and then you get
looking at the
panic
watch,
mode,
yeah.
and now you're like, oh, tomorrow's going to be a write-off. And then you wake up at 7 for a test match the next day and you feel tired, and you're like, how am I going to get through today? But the South African in us, so you go, I'm just going to mental toughness it out today. I wish there was people that could talk about the hacks of sleeping, because I think, like you say, it is a superpower. Sleeping well is the best thing for sportsmen, recovery, pitching up the next day to be your best version of yourself. So I operated basically at 70% my whole career. So can you imagine?
That's not good. You
Can you imagine?
Come on. Yeah, I think it's making those small changes. You know, you don't need to go and do one big change. It's putting all these little things together. And one of the best things is, as simple as it sounds, is actually going to bed a little bit earlier. Now I know we all want to go and watch Netflix and do all these things, but all that is doing, like looking at your phone, blue light from the TV, it's signaling to your body to wake up, or at least stay awake. So all these things are being released in your body to keep you awake. So when you turn the TV off or put your phone upside down next to you and get into bed, your body's programmed differently. It's starting processes, because blue light is what you see in the morning, and all our devices have that. So one of the first things is making sure that you are away from your phone, you know, and at the very least, trying to wind down by doing half an hour of reading or something like that. And you know what? Blue light is almost impossible for a lot of people towards the end. So there's a few little ways you can do it. This is just a very simple one. You know, you can either go and
Here we go.
yeah,
Here we
you see,
go. The
I've
toys.
I've got a worse one for later, guys. Don't worry. My children call me Elton John. So this blocks all the blue light. So if you want to look at your phone and do all those things,
What
then
color is my shirt, Sean?
it is very red. So
Look at that.
yeah, you give them a try.
You can ask him a question. Doc,
So here's,
try these bad boys on.
I mean,
Yeah.
these are great, and these are like fine tweaking, as you say. When I speak to audiences on the subject of sleep, I steal a line from Matthew Walker. Matthew Walker wrote a book called Why We Sleep. It's a must read, phenomenal. But he made this statement, I love it. He said, when it comes to sleep, the issue is testicles. Men who sleep 5 hours or less have got significantly smaller testicles than men who sleep 7 hours or more. That's it. Half the audience is going, yeah, don't cross your legs.
I was not expecting that. Sorry.
And the issue is, I mean, there's science behind that, because Matthew Walker's a fantastic scientist, is if you're sleeping 5 hours or less, you see a drop in testosterone of 10 to 15%, which is the kind of drop you see in 10 to 15 years in men. And a man with low testosterone, belly fat, no energy, brain fog, a libido that naps more than you do, it's not pretty. And sleep fixes that.
That's
You know.
pretty motivating.
Yeah, for men.
Yeah,
And ladies,
absolutely.
you're not,
Yeah.
for you, for all of us, in fact, you're not excluded. I mean, we're talking why sleep is non-negotiable, 25% increase in risk for diabetes, 50% increase risk for heart attacks if you're not getting your 7 hours sleep at
Wow.
night. It's crazy. I mean, your immune system, one night of bad sleep, one night of pre-match, I can't sleep, and your immune system's natural killer cells reduced by 30%. That's your cancer surveillance team calling in sick.
Wow.
Like, you don't want that. So sleep
Absolutely.
is absolutely non-negotiable.
They often refer to it as the world's most powerful and most simple biohack. And you don't really need to buy anything to do it. You just need to have a schedule and follow it. And you can do a long list of things, or you can do some very simple, short things. And I think, why don't we just go through it, then we can just throw some of our things backwards and forth so we can go through.
Let's go.
But I think one of the first ones is set your bedtime. They say it's like the most important meeting of the day. Set it, whether it's 9:30 or earlier or later, but whatever it is, stick to it, and that is the time. So building up to that time, you can't just get to 9:30 and jump in bed. You've got to be prepared for it. So you've got to start slowing your body down. You need to start dimming the night lights in your house if you can. If you have dimmers, that's the first thing. Drop them down to 20 to 30%. It starts giving your body the light signal that it needs to start preparing for sleep. Definitely stay away from the phone or the TV. We will put a link in the show notes of how you can actually put your phone onto a red light mode, so it turns the screen red. If you have to go on your phone, that's a way to do it.
Or you can grayscale your phone.
You can
Kids say that to
grayscale.
me, that grayscale the phone.
Yeah.
Certainly Instagram looks like a newspaper.
Color.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Or-
don't want to watch Instagram videos. It's great.
I mean, Faf on Instagram in black and white.
Looks pretty good, huh?
Absolutely. And we'll carry on going through the list, but I think it's very important we can touch on circadian rhythm here, because good bedtime doesn't start at night, it starts in the morning. And in our previous episode, we talked about Sean Shooter and hydrating and getting some morning sunlight, and we said we would follow up a bit on that later. And I think the circadian rhythm is your body's natural rhythm according to when you wake and when you go to bed. So when you get the first light in your eyes in the morning, that signals your cortisol to start being released, which is like a stress hormone. It gets you awake, but it's a good stress in the morning because it's getting you active and out. But it also sets a 16-hour timer for where your melatonin is going to be released. So whenever you get the light in the morning, about 16 hours later, your melatonin, which is like sleeping hormone, is released. So good sleep starts with first light in the morning. So I think that's also very important to note.
Yeah. And by the way, that cortisol spike you talk about that wakes us up. If you're having caffeine in the first 90 minutes of waking up, you blunt the effect of cortisol.
Absolutely.
So suddenly you're not waking up properly, and you become dependent on caffeine
In the
just to
morning.
actually wake up. Yeah.
Wow.
So in the morning, my first cup of coffee is a decaf coffee. I wait the 90 minutes to get my cortisol to spike and come down again,
And then
I hit caffeine, which is great.
Sorry, Michael, I've got a bit of Italian genes in me, and we have to have espresso in the morning.
Yeah,
so sorry
espresso,
about that.
no,
I
the
know I don't look
problem,
Italian, but it's
yeah.
true. It's true.
But listen, I want to touch on something you mentioned, Sean, and you didn't say the word, you described it, but consistency. So sleep, it rises and falls on consistency. Same time to bed, same time to wake, Monday through Sunday. So if 7 hours is your minimum, and you're going to bed at 10 and getting up at 5, but tomorrow you get up at midnight, but I'm getting up at 7, you're getting 7 hours, but you're not consistent, and your body hates that. Consistency wins the day within about half an hour on either side. That's what you want to do. And again, unfortunately, it's Monday through Sunday. So to think I can sleep in on the weekends and, recover sleep debt, no. Consistency is the order of the day. Your body loves it.
I hear a lot of people talk about REM sleep. Talk to me about what that actually means.
Oh, I always jump straight into the science.
Let's go.
There
Talk
we
consistency,
go.
now you go REM.
Rapid eye movements. Let's go.
Exactly. Sleep happens in 90-minute cycles. So the first 45 minutes is light sleep. The next 22 and a half minutes, give or take, is deep sleep. And the final 22 and a half minutes to finish that 90-minute cycle, REM sleep, rapid eye movement. Okay. In light sleep, your body's just nodding off. Deep sleep is where your body repairs itself physically. So your immune system and your muscles. And REM sleep is when your body does its mental therapy. So memories get fixed. Your brain deals with the emotional issues of the day, And that's kind of, it's, Matthew Walker calls it your overnight therapy. All right. If you're not getting REM sleep, you wake up the next morning and your spilled cup of coffee feels like the universe is punishing you. Or you step on that Lego block and you're going, "Dear God, why did I have children?" You know, it's that. And you overreact because there's a little center in your brain called the amygdala, which is your drama queen center. That just operates unfettered if you're having a REM sleep. So when it comes to just mental acuity and being ready for your day, for facing the kind of bowling that you're facing, you need REM sleep because it keeps you sharp. Yeah, that's the
And
important
can you affect REM sleep?
3 ways, particularly caffeine, alcohol, and surprise, surprise, sleeping tablets.
Really?
Yeah, not great for
I
REM
know
sleep.
that. On the sleeping tablets, is that because it's an unnatural unlocking of your rhythm or something?
Matthew Walker calls them blunt instruments. So great helping you get into sleep, and you're going to get some physical recovery, but you're not getting the deep REM sleep recovery that you have. So your brain never actually, your brain basically floats around in its own toxic materials. It doesn't wash out. So yeah, sleeping tablets, short term only, but certainly not long term.
And melatonin tablets?
Sean, should we disagree on this?
No.
I'm not sure. In fact, I'm not even sure what you say about that.
Let me give you context, because when we travel a lot, obviously playing overseas, and that's the biggest thing, is your obviously day and night shifts, and we really struggle. So initially, it feels almost impossible. Night one, you may be a little bit tired, you can fall asleep, but you wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. Night two is so difficult. So you try and stay away from sleeping tablets, and we do as much as possible. But you're also trying to get into a time zone as quick as possible. So we use melatonin in that first 4 or 5 days to try and switch over as quickly as possible. And for the guys who really struggle with it, they would have on the first or second night a half a sleeping tablet just to help them almost. But I hear what you're saying now. That's bad for REM sleep. It might help you fall asleep. So that's 2 ways. But I've seen the benefits of melatonin tablets for that reason only, and I don't use them when I'm home and I'm in my normal life. But certainly when you're traveling over different time zones, I find that it's got good value.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sean?
I think it's 2 parts. There's the melatonin that you would ingest to try and overcome the timetable, and then there's also adjusting to the new rhythm of the time zone that you're in. So when it's the morning there, making sure that you go out and get that first light and walk and start establishing your body's rhythm, because the tablets will go against your body's rhythm. So what you want to do is get your circadian rhythm in sync with where you are, and that starts in the morning. So the melatonin, I can see why somebody would take that. I remember going to Australia, and it helped us get into the rhythm quickly. But I would say what's even more important is getting your circadian rhythm on track.
And melatonin supplements generally not helpful. And I'm sorry to break that, because there is a placebo effect. I'm taking melatonin. I know it's a sleep hormone, so it's going to help. And that's often the most helpful thing, is the placebo effect. But generally, the amount of melatonin your body produces, minimal. And the amount that you're taking, maximal, but has very little effect. So again, quoting a guy like Matthew Walker, this is not me saying melatonin, great marketing, very little effect actually.
And something that definitely does affect your sleep is caffeine. Right? For some reason, some people can have a double espresso after dinner and fall asleep, but that's not most people. And I think caffeine, as soon as I stopped taking caffeine from about between 12 and 1 or 2 on certain occasions, because the half-life of caffeine is 6 hours. So if you have something at like 4 o'clock, by the time you go to bed, you've still got a decent percentage of caffeine in your blood. So what you want is to have your last coffee at 12, and look for other ways to pick up your energy if you need it, because caffeine has a really good benefit in the beginning, but it definitely will take away from your sleep. And considering it's the most powerful body process we go through, you want to let your body do its best work without messing it up. So caffeine is definitely one of the things to watch out for.
And that 6 hours half-life that you talk about, Sean, that pretty much means the amount of caffeine in your system is half of what it was 6 hours after you ingested. And there's some individual variation, can even go up to 8 hours, which means you've got half that espresso still in floating around your system by the time you're trying to fall asleep. A lot of people can fall asleep after that double espresso.
But not brains.
But what they're not getting is exact.
Ah, I didn't know that.
He's listening.
There we go.
I
That's-
used to do
Not just
Breakthrough.
not just a perfect athlete, but yeah.
And one of the other things that you can do with avoiding caffeine is eating late at night. Now, we all like a good braai, and I eat a lot of grass-fed steak. And what I learned through maximizing the sleep protocol is not to have heavy meals too late. So I've brought dinner quite forward early. We eat at about 6 o'clock, especially if I'm having something like steak. I'll even try a little bit earlier, because the last thing you want to do is go to bed and your entire digestive system is breaking down this amazing meat. But it's like, imagine a whole bunch of workers in your basement and you're trying to go to sleep. That's exactly what's happening. So you want to try and eat heavy meals, avoiding carbs late at night, so that your body is at rest. And I mean, some of the guys even say, have your last meal at lunch. I think I'm okay to have a nice braai in the evening, but I just want to make sure we're eating some of those heavily processed things in your stomach earlier, so that your workmen aren't waking you up, banging you on the
Don't be all
door.
of that guy that kind of, we go over
The-
for
the
a
late
braai
braai.
at 10 o'clock at night. It's
Yeah.
like, no, Hans.
Or the guy
What's
that brings
gone, no
chicken to a
braai.
braai because it's going to take so much longer to braai.
I don't eat vegetables.
Don't bring that.
But just to sorry, what Sean was saying, digestion, one hand, repair on the other hand, two huge processes for your body. You can't do both. And so the idea is, I eat early so that my body can digest, deal with that process. And when I get to put my head on the pillow, I can repair and focus on repair.
That's really something I found that's made a big difference. And one of the cheat codes that I found has helped me, that you shared with me, is the fact that, because we have these watches that monitor your sleep and your sleep quality and your sleep consistency. The consistency is one word that the big doc talks about, but I find it's quite an easy adjustment to make in terms of food. It's actually really good because you can eat with your kids. Like, it's that early
Absolutely.
before bedtime. So we've shifted to have dinner anywhere between 6 to 7, like roughly around there. And it gives me that 3 hours. And I've really seen it make a
REM
difference
sleep
in the
hour.
data in terms of sleeping. One, that. And also the fluid intake is something else
Absolutely.
that I find has helped me a lot. Because I used to drink a lot of sparkling water. I'm always thirsty and drinking like 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
even before bed, just
Yeah.
drink a lot of it. But what I find is I would wake up all the time in the night and just be a weeing machine, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
He's getting
it's
older.
He's getting older.
That's 2:41. Let's go.
Let's go.
But even
That's-
that, just pushing that a little bit earlier, as taking it down from 8 times a night to maybe 1 time.
Yeah. Well, that's the other benefit of salt. Remember, we spoke about in the other episode about the sodium pulling the water into your cells. So your cells are hydrated, not just water passing through your body. So if you're having a bit of salt water throughout the day, your body's going to hold on to a little bit more water rather than passing through, which means it's going to wake you up less. And then another little I don't know, pro tip is when you are having a heavy meal or having your nighttime meal, try not to have a lot of water with it, because when all your digestive enzymes are working, if you're putting a whole bunch of water in there as well, your body has to drain all the water before those enzymes start to digest again. So I know we've always been in a culture where you have to have a drink with your meal, but we tend to have a glass of water about half an hour before the meal, and then nothing really with the meal, because otherwise it's slowing down your digestion, which just means your body's going to be taking longer before you get some sleep. It's just another little.
I want to double click on something that most men worry about.
Yeah.
Later on in life, I get up to pee in the evening. Doesn't affect my sleep. The good answer and the great answer is no. And here's why. So remember the 90-minute cycles I talked about when we sleep. You want to get as many of those complete 90-minute cycles in for a good night's rest. All right. Your REM sleep, the last bit of that 90 minutes, your body's actually paralyzed because your brain is doing all sorts of work. If you were physically active, you would act out your dreams and your wife would never forgive you. So you're paralyzed. It's often after REM sleep that your body goes, okay, now I need a pee, which means you finish your 90-minute cycle, you wake up, go to the bathroom, and ideally just low light, don't turn on it, and get back into bed. And if you fall asleep quickly, it's part of your natural process. You start your next 90-minute cycle. So if you're getting up 2 or 3 times a night to pee as an older man, don't worry about it. You worry if you can't fall back to sleep. That's the issue. But if you go to the loo, get back into bed, fall asleep, perfect.
And you mentioned the light. If you do that, don't flash the light on because that's blue light and it signals your body it's morning, wake up, start, the
Yeah.
boss is coming, and all the cortisol comes. Don't turn on the light if you want to go back to sleep as well.
So darkness and
Darkness.
darkness, vitally important.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about
Blackout.
exactly when you sleep. Think Batman, cool, dark, quiet.
Yeah.
The reason
Your
dark.
voice sounds a bit like Batman
Thank you very
again.
much. More Christian Bale or more? The reason darkness is so important, and actually Huberman highlighted this a little while ago. Darkness has an independent factor outside of the absence of light is so crucial for healthy sleep.
Sure.
So he was saying if you can black out, do that. If you wear eye masks, if you can't black
Yeah.
out, do that. But darkness, vitally important for mood, for hormone balance, and for good sleep. So really crucial because we talked about this earlier. I sleep in an environment where I can see a bit of a street light. There's a little bit of light in the room. If you can block that out, it's really good.
It's amazing that while you're asleep, that your body, you talk about a street light, because you would think, why would that make a difference to your sleep? Like people who've been sleeping forever and they feel like they're sleeping proper sleep with no blackout. But you're saying your body is that sensitive, it still picks up on all the little, the blue light on the TV in the hotel room, the street light.
You take me back to second year anatomy, but there's a little light sensor in your brain, and I think it's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Forget that's what it's called. That picks up light even with eyes closed. You've got these thin little eyelids that picks up little light, and as soon as there's light there, it goes, oh, daytime. Starts waking you up. Starts saying, hey, you got to get ready for your game, and have you padded up and all that sort of stuff. So, and that's why blackout or darkness is so important for sleep.
Sure. Yeah.
And the amount of sleep. We that's like the most obvious, and I don't think we touched on that. So the science says 7 to 9 hours, which is interesting. So 7 minimum, 9 maximum. Anything more than 9, and you're getting to almost too sedentary. Yeah, it's too much. So 7 to 9 is the sweet spot.
And you mentioned cool as well in the room and quiet. Some people sleep with white noise as well, but cool is definitely something that improves the sleep. So what advice would you give to a guy whose wife won't let them keep the air conditioning on? Because I'm asking for a friend.
Speaking of white noise, a little hack for you if you like. And again, we talked about hacks. Do they really work? But just before you get to sleep, a warm shower, good idea, because as soon as you get out of a warm shower, that coolness hits you, your body drops by generally a degree in temperature, and that triggers melatonin, that triggers the whole process of falling asleep. And that's really the big issue for you, is falling asleep in a cool environment. So I would have a warm shower and hop into bed as soon after that as possible.
I suppose my journey with white noise is twofold. One is kids, right? So usually you want to try and make the babies, trying to make them sleep as quickly as possible. So white noise was one of the things that we tried. Then I find I became a little bit a lighter sleeper, falling asleep especially. We have a French bulldog that had a massive snore on him. And I could not fall asleep with that snore. So I had to pump the white noise to max volume. So it sounds like the Vic Falls is next to my head. But it's that I could not fall asleep with noises. So why is there something happens that makes us more aware of the sounds to fall asleep, like sensitive sleepers? I'm not sure if I explained it right, but
no, you did. I'd love to give you more insight into this, and I'm claiming the fifth here, but there is some interesting science around a concept called binaural beats or binaural deep sleep. They're sounds that trigger a deeper sleep. They help you focus, they help you fall asleep. I haven't done enough research.
And that's why they play white noise.
That's why,
or pink noise, or whatever it's called. Gray, is it gray noise?
Gray noise is basically when your wife is talking to you while you're falling asleep. That's gray noise.
Moving swiftly along, and what we're going to do is we're going to put all these things in the show notes because we're going through all these small changes. But the one thing I definitely want to pick up on is the phones. I've mentioned it a few times already, but it's not just the light that can affect you while sleeping. charging your phone next to your bed and keeping it on brings in all this electromagnetic field and these frequencies that are operating out of your phone. And the last thing you want to do is be having your phone on charging next to your bed, which is right next to your head. Your brain is regulating a lot of things, and then you've literally got this little device emitting all these frequencies, which is 100% sleep disrupting.
That's probably the thing we all do.
Absolutely.
We're the most guilty of, right? Because you
Yeah.
charge your phone next to your head.
Charge your phone next to your bed.
You know.
It's you can justify, and somebody calls me, but the best thing to do is to put it on, turn it off is the number one. If you can't do that, then put on airplane mode. And if you are going to charge it in the corner away from your bed, not right next
So
to
it's
your
that
head.
sensitive.
It's that sensitive. I mean, we are biochemical, bioelectro beings. Think we've got this very sophisticated device sending out all these signals and receiving signals, and then we're trying to sleep peacefully, and there's this little rumble next to us. So 100% move your phone away from your bed on airplane mode and charge in the corner or in another room if you can do it, because that's even better. The other thing, a little tip, is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi on consistently in your house has a different effect on your body. We all need Wi-Fi. You can go cables, but not everybody can do that. But Wi-Fi at night, one of the simplest little hacks is to get one of those little timers. You don't need an expensive one. Is put your Wi-Fi on a timer, and when you're going to bed, 10 o'clock, it turns off. 5 o'clock in the morning, it turns back on, and then you're sleeping without Wi-Fi at night.
But
It's exactly the same reason.
if you turn your phone on airplane mode, does it not automatically cut off the Wi-Fi?
No, because the Wi-Fi is emitting from a separate device. Usually in your roof or from downstairs, it goes through walls. If it can go through walls, it's going through you. So the one thing to do to get good sleep, cut your Wi-Fi off. The cheapest way to do it, get a little timer. And then if you really need, in an emergency, just know where it is, run to it, flick it on, your Wi-Fi will be on in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Helps you stop binging on Netflix as well, which is great.
It does, yes. It cuts everything off. And also make sure your kids aren't watching something.
I heard someone describe, looking at your phone just before you fall asleep, trying to meditate in a nightclub.
Yes.
It really is exactly like that. It doesn't play nicely with your brain. And so often I have people say to me, I'm exhausted, but I can't sleep. And the reason you're exhausted but you can't sleep is because you haven't prepared for sleep. You get into bed, you're tired, physically you just want to collapse, but you're still looking at your phone. And it really is, as Sean described, it's the sleep hygiene, that's the preparation for sleep. We set sleep alarms, awake alarms our whole life. We should be setting a sleep alarm.
Absolutely.
And you said 9 o'clock, 9:30, the alarm goes off, you prepare for bed.
So all these things add up to, all these small changes add up to something quite big almost instantly, because if you just follow some of these, you're not going to do all of them, but if you just do a few of them, you're going to see you're going to start getting better sleep. And as you get better sleep, you're going to think, well, if I only did that and I feel like this, I'm going to do a little bit more, and the next minute you'll find your own groove. You'll find your bedtime. You find something that works. You have to do it with your partner, because you don't want to be getting woken up at different times. So you've got to try and find a natural rhythm, and eventually you will. And then it's the single easiest free thing that you can do, and it will drastically change your life if you can just get your sleep. You get your sleep right.
Okay, so I'm trying the sleep protocol, or I'm not trying. But I wake up the next day. I've had a shocker of a night of sleep. I'm back there to when I was playing Test cricket.
Yeah.
And I've had 5 hours of sleep. I wake up the next morning. We spoke in the previous episode about creatine. You can add 10 to 15 grams of creatine to give you that boost and feeling better. Is there anything else that can help someone that's had a bad night's sleep?
Well, I think first and foremost, remember the creatine thing, because I remember chatting to somebody who I know quite well, and he knows this, and he had a really bad night's sleep. And I said, did you take your creatine? He goes, oh no, I forgot. So first thing to do is remember to take it. So up to 15 grams, that should restore your brain to almost normal capacity. Okay. Also making sure you have something like the minerals, because when you dehydrated, that brain fog and that dehydration actually means you don't have enough minerals. It's not about the water. So making sure the minerals is a part of it. And then, I would, for me, it's espresso. That helps me get through the day.
Look, I want to say to you, dude, I'm sorry you didn't have a good night's rest. Do
Yeah.
better next time.
Do
Because
better.
what the danger is it's like diet and supplements. So I've got a bad diet, but if I supplement, I'm fine. No supplement is going to replace a bad diet. And no fix, caffeine, cortisol, creatine, is going to fix a bad night's rest. If you had a bad night's rest, take it on the chin, do what you can to fix that. But tomorrow night, you start again and you get it right.
But that's the great thing about this. Like, as I said earlier, there wasn't this information to us before. So now I feel like there is so much information to prepare and to give yourself the best chance of having a good night's rest, because that gives you the best performance the next day.
And again, to reiterate what I said in the beginning, it's not rest. You're not being lazy by getting 8 hours of sleep. This is active repair. Your body says, I need this. Set aside time because I'm going to rebuild myself and be the best person I can be. And it starts with sleep.
And I mentioned this in our first episode. Our bodies are designed in a way to give us the best chance at life. And sleep is where some of those miracles happen. And investing in that bedtime, investing in winding down, it's actually a proper investment in your life. Because if you wake up the next day, you got more vitality, you're going to solve more problems, you're probably going to do better at work, and then it's a virtuous circle. The good gets better, and it just goes. But just on supplements, there is one or two that you can take that really, really help. Main one is magnesium for a good night's sleep. There's magnesium glycinate, and there's also magnesium threonate. I've seen studies where they say magnesium threonate is for people that have racing minds at night. They have a lot of like open windows and they can't shut them. And apparently magnesium threonate helps with that. I personally take magnesium glycinate, and I find that is a very good part of my after dinner supplementation. We are going to have a whole episode on supplementations and which ones we think are worth and which ones aren't. But one of the ones that fit directly into a sleep protocol is taking some magnesium. One of the most important things you can supplement with. We don't get enough through our through some of our food. So have a look at those as well.
Highly recommended. So magnesium glycinate, you've got an autonomic nervous system. That's just what runs in the background, keeps you going. You've got part of that is a sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic. Sympathetic is your fight or flight. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. And all that magnesium glycinate does is it promotes your parasympathetic nervous system. It just reduces all the anxiety, the stress of the day, and gets you ready to rest and digest.
When taking magnesium glycinate, do you have to take it before bedtime, or can you take it any time during the day?
Ideally before bedtime. Because if you've got a busy day, if you're going to, take on Australia, the last thing you want is to go, hey, we're acting so relaxed. We want you sharp.
To be in action mode.
It's never like that.
Action mode.
But I'm making a point. You were never like that.
So at night, okay, cool.
Tea?
Rooibos. I mean, South Africa is blessed with beautiful herbal teas. There's the herbal, as they call them around the world. Antioxidant, no caffeine, great for your stomach. You want to avoid green tea. I do a lot of green tea when I'm fasting. We'll speak about that and all its benefits. But it's with the caffeine, so it's not just in coffee. There's black tea, Earl Grey's all got caffeine. It's the same for that wind down window. So having the non-caffeinated rooiboses and chamomile, etc. Those are all calming. They're all good. Remember, don't go and have 5 cups of tea before you go to bed, because that's probably going to want to come out and wake you up. And then you might be calm and falling asleep, but then you got to go and do some physiology in the bathroom. You don't want that. So you're limiting your liquid intake obviously includes tea. So just choose your timing wisely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So what do you take out of this, Faf? What's the take-home post-it note tweet?
Consistency.
Yeah.
I like that. Sure.
It's the most important meeting of your day. Don't miss it.
Great. They do a global sleep experiment every year on 1.7 billion people across 67 countries. It's a sleep experiment they call daylight saving. On the day that you lose an hour of sleep, you see an increase in heart attacks of 24%. And on the day that we gain an hour of sleep, you see a decrease in heart attacks of 21% just on that day. Same with motor vehicle accidents, same with suicides. Sleep's not something that's a trend. You fix it in a day and you lose it in a day. Sleep's the basis of good health.
So hopefully we've empowered you with some information about things that you can actually do tonight. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow's got its own troubles. Start tonight. Set an important meeting time for your bedtime. Work towards it. You're not going to get it perfect on the first night. It's going to take you a few weeks, but it's worth it. It's worth the investment, because the return on that investment is better than anyone in the markets that you can get for your life, for your vitality. And when you are better, you can make your family better. And that's what we want to do. We want to help. We want to help you be the best version of yourself, to be who you were designed to be, so that you can have more good days. And please, if you have something interesting that you've learned along the way, we don't know it all, we don't have all the answers, please send them in, and we'll happily take them on board, and maybe we even share them in other episodes, things that we've learned from you in your own personal journey. And what we'd really like is for you to just continue on this adventure with us, and we look forward to that moment.